it's Jessii Vee. So before we get started, I just want to give you a slight warning. I have been battling a cold for the past week, so if my voice sounds weird and if I'm sniffling, you know why. I do feel like I'm winning this battle, but it has been very challenging. Everything in my face is stuffed. It's that time of year, you know what I mean? So in today's video, we're gonna be talking about old kids TV shows that were very disturbing. A lot of the shows I'm going to mention were actually banned or removed from TV because so many kids were scared and so many parents were upset they were actually being shown. I've done other videos very similar to this, but today we're gonna be talking about shows that I have not mentioned on this channel ever. I just find it so weird when things are made for kids, but they shouldn't have been. If a kid show scares us as adults, that's a problem. Now, what's even creepier is that all of these shows did really exist. All of these shows are real, but a lot of people don't even remember them. For example, a lot of the ones I'm going to be telling you today were around when I was growing up, but I've only seen like maybe 2. So get ready because we are going back in time to some very creepy stuff. Before we get started though, I just want to remind you that the Easter mystery boxes are available now on my website. At the time of filming this, we have around 50 left. They have gone so fast, and if you guys would like one before Easter, the link is down below in the description. Alright, so let's get started. My voice hurts. Alright, the first show I'm gonna mention is called Don't Look Under the Bed, and this show aired in 1999. So I was how old? I was 5 years old. Don't Look Under the Bed is considered Disney's most terrifying original movie. In fact, it was so scary that Disney Channel had to stop airing it at the request of unhappy parents. Now, I thought this was a TV show, but I guess it was a movie, but it was played on a TV channel. It's about this girl named Frances who has this imaginary friend named Larry. And what's creepy about this movie is that Larry starts slowly turning into the boogeyman. He grows long fingernails, has glowing purple eyes, and sharp pointy rows of teeth. He even pulls her brother under the bed at one point. And what's even worse is that her imaginary friend boogeyman is not even the most terrifying part of the movie. She also has these porcelain dolls in her room that move on their own when no one is watching. So there's a lot going on in this girl's life. But so many kids were complaining about having nightmares that they literally had to take this show down from the Disney Channel ASAP. The next one we're gonna talk about actually was a TV show. It was called Whiz. This show actually aired in the 80s. So the main character of this show is named Whiz, and he is supposed to be a magician's hat. The shape alone is enough to give us nightmares, but the way it moves and operates is extra spine chilling. People say the weirdest part about this show is that this Whiz-Bit magician's hat has a very high-pitched, strange voice, and he is always accompanied by this man in a rabbit suit that always dances for a very uncomfortable amount of time. So it's like wherever Whiz-Bit goes, this creepy rabbit suit man follows. And what's weirder is that Whiz-Bit lives in a house that is completely black and white. It's just void of color. I don't know, the show just gives off this very strange vibe and people weren't feeling it. Next, we're gonna talk about Mum and Chan's. I hope I'm saying that right. Mum and Chan's? Why is this so hard for me? Mum and Chan's is a theater group who performs using a series of masks and props. Now, this show was not originally intended to be for children, but they did appear on shows made for children, like The Muppets, for example. They had a whole episode dedicated to them. And to be honest, this group is really talented. Like, what they do is pretty cool, but the kids who were watching them were scared because they always wore these very eerie masks. So parents thought it was strange that they would put this group onto kids' TV channels because when you're young, seeing someone's face being covered by something scary is never fun. That's why a lot of kids are actually afraid of clowns. The next show we're gonna talk about is called Carbuncle. This is a pretty creepy character that comes from a Norwegian TV series. This series is called I Meek Lorland. I hope I'm saying that right. The story revolves around this character character named Meek, who lives in a world where every single person is obsessed with reading and writing. Everyone except for the character named Carbuncle. Carbuncle sets out to terrorize anyone that is trying to read or write. This character is meant to be a little off-putting and seems to be more terrifying than funny. Just like the other TV shows we mentioned, there were a lot of complaints that this character was just too scary for kids. Why is someone riding a motorcycle in the middle of winter? So because they got so many complaints from parents, they actually tried to redesign his character to make him look more friendly, but that didn't end up working. He actually looked scarier afterwards. So the show had to actually be canceled in the late 90s. I feel like that's such a weird premise for a show though, like trying to stop people from reading and writing. The next show is called Ubi, and this show is super bizarre. This actually aired in the early 2000s, and I cannot believe that I don't remember this. Please comment down below if you remember any of these shows. The idea for this show is simple but weird. Instead of puppets, it's just the hands talking with ping pong balls for the eyes. But there's something very unsettling about the whole thing. And the way these characters talk are really disturbing as well. I love how I'm making an example of a hand. It's also disturbing the way the hands move and float around the set as if they were detached. Them being puppets without actually being puppets is almost as if we're watching the skeleton of the puppets perform. So most people that have seen this show agree that it's just too weird to watch and take seriously, and a lot of kids would beg their parents to change the channel on the television. Next, let's move on to a character named Limbo that was actually from the Muppets. Limbo is a Muppet character who is arguably the most terrifying of them all. Limbo doesn't look like most puppets do. I mean, I just did a whole video on the Muppets. You know how they look. Limbo is a whole other thing. He was the most abstract of them all, mostly appearing as just a mouth and two eyes made out of string. So Limbo was just a face made out of string, and a lot of kids found this disturbing. And whenever the character was on the screen, it was accompanied by this very ominous music, and I think I remember this character, and I don't think I liked it very much. And the last show we're gonna talk about is called Peppermint Park. This was meant to be an educational kids show, but it turned out not being so successful. The way these puppets were designed were just too terrifying. The puppets even look as though they could be humans wearing costumes. Their faces are similar to dolls, and the bodies are long and move in a frightening manner. And what's even weirder is it's so hard to come across footage and photos of this show. It was almost like it never really existed at all. Not a lot of people remember watching it. It's just one of those shows that seemed like a far-off dream. I just think it's so weird that they decided to design the puppets that way. Anyways though guys, those are all of the weird old TV shows we're gonna be talking about today. If you like me doing series like this where we talk about shows that maybe should not have existed, definitely give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget, if you want to get an Easter mystery box, they're going so quickly. The link is down below in the description. But I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video.